Hello, guys, welcome to Monitoring and Evaluation Made Simple. I'm your host, Coach Alexander. I'm so glad you've come back to this channel. Today, we're going to be looking at a very interesting topic. This topic is universal if you come to think of it because it affects everyone in the workplace. What do you do if your boss hates you? Okay, so you might be an M&D officer working at a organization, or you might be in any other profession. This is a very important topic. I thought we could discuss about it. It's life changing. It could give you solutions. You could be facing it right now in your life. All right. So, like I said, I've been in the monitoring and evaluation field for 10 years now. I've enjoyed every moment of it. So, I won't spend time talking about myself. This topic is all about you. Okay, so now this presentation is for everyone. If you come to think of it, of course, I have a lot of friends who are M&D professionals all over the world. Okay, but it could be you may be practicing engineering, you may be a marketer, you may be an accountant, economist, you may be working at one of these big companies anywhere in this world. So this is especially for you. I know it has come at a time when people may not really be working because of the COVID-19 pandemic, but it's something we need to discuss because it can affect anyone, guys. Right, so as usual, this video is quite long, so there are timestamps in the description below. Please make good use of them so that you just skip to the area you want to get answers to instead of watching the whole long video. You can go to the part which is more interesting to you. And that's what I like to promote because I don't want to waste your time. I want you to get the maximum benefit from everything. Okay, so now the thing is that when you get employed as a monitoring and evaluation, could be a monitoring and evaluation officer, M&D coordinator, M&D manager, you may face challenges, okay? And there are so many challenges. It could be the work you're doing is overwhelming. And because of the overwhelming workload, sometimes you get fatigued. And I've been there a lot of times, especially if there are not so many staff who are doing this work, but the whole organization is depending on you to fulfill the data needs for the organization. So it can be really hard. But one of the things I've seen, all right, in my experience, I've also faced this before, and you always face it, guys. Let's face it, is this a boss who doesn't like you. All right. And, a boss, this can get really complicated because, a boss is a boss. They are the ones who have employed you, they're the ones who pay you. And looking at how things are in our day and age, it's so difficult to find work. All right. At least a good job these days is hard to find. It's even more difficult to start your own business. A lot of times we hear people saying, no, be independent, start your own thing. There's always that learning curve, even when it comes to starting your own business. So it's not easy. The world isn't easy. And this is how it is. You might run into a boss who doesn't like you. Okay. So now there are reasons why a boss may not like you. All right. So I want us to go through these reasons. I'm going to spend a bit of time helping you understand these reasons. Okay. So the first reason why a boss may not like you is the way you do your job. All right. There are certain things, we are all given job descriptions, and those job descriptions are basically telling you what your boss expects from you. All right. So now, if you are not delivering what is in your description, it can be really hard. All right. It can be really hard for them to fully accept you. There are also, in an organization, there are also these values and norms which each organization adopts for themselves. If you're not living up to those values, it can be really hard for your boss to like you. Take, for instance, these things may not even be in your job description. It could be just the values such as teamwork, honesty, hard work, cooperation, submissiveness, things like that, excellence, things like that can really make someone not like you. So I guess those are the main reasons. And I can tell you from my experience, if you are not performing well, you may be doing your job, but sometimes, like I can give you an example, M&D personnel are always writing reports. Now, if those reports have a lot of errors in them, or if those reports have, even grammar that is not properly written, can be irritating to read. And you can imagine if your boss is always having to receive your work and he has to do the corrections for you, that can be really, really bad. And sometimes it can be a red flag. They will not like you for that. Okay. Then another reason, the second reason. Okay. So the reasons that are following, I can tell you they are not really common. Okay. But it could contribute. And it's something you may want to think about. They have been misinformed about you. Okay. So sometimes there could be information they've received about you which may be true or may not be true, and that affects the way they see you. All right. So let's say, just as an example, information has gotten to them that you are a drunkard. You drink heavily, and they even learn that your conduct after you drink is this and that. It may not be true, but some people exaggerate the truth. So once it gets to them, they tend to question that, is he really the right person I chose? Okay. Okay. So those are the reasons, other reasons. Then another reason why a boss may not like you, it's due to selfish reasons. Everyone has elements of selfishness in them. They may want you to do certain things that are dishonest, okay, which they know are dishonest, and you're not a person who likes to take part in anything like that. Or it could be that they want you to do things that may affect your own reputation. You see, such as having a workplace affair. Such things may cause them not to like you if you refuse, especially if you refuse, because bosses want to be the people who tell you what to do and you accept whatever thing they ask you to do. So that could be another reason. But another reason could be they probably, sometimes we think they don't like us, but they actually do. It's just that they're going through a lot of stress. Okay, so you may read things wrongly sometimes. And finally, the last reason which I could think about is that you were probably part of some office gossip. All right, and they probably learnt about it and they're not happy about it, and sooner or later they're going to confront you about it, or they may not confront you about it, but then you see it in their actions on you that something is, something inside them is boiling. Okay, so now the truth of the matter, for whatever reason there is, having a boss who doesn't like you can really ruin your performance, and it gives a lot of stress because, like, I gave you the example, these days it's really hard to make ends meet. It's really, really hard. And To find a new job is extra work. To find a very good job is sometimes really, really, really hard. Okay. And that's where the stress comes in, because the thought of not having income can be really stressful. And the last thing you want is somebody who doesn't like you. Employees, it's even, it can be hard if fellow employees don't like you, but when you have your boss not liking you, it can be really hard. Okay, so what should you do? All right. All right, what should you do? The first thing you need to do, dear friend, is not to panic. It can be hard to stay calm. A lot of things may be racing in your head, but the first thing you need to do is verify whether what you have concluded is indeed what is on the ground. Okay. We don't want to rush into conclusions, but you need to verify. So there are certain signs that will tell you that someone doesn't like you. So, for instance, they are constantly bullying you or giving you negative energy, but when they're around others, they are totally friendly. They are open to discussion, jokes, things like that. Okay, so it's good to verify this thing. It's good to go to your fellow workmates, find out from them what is it they themselves have observed on the matter. All right, and especially like in my time of practicing M&D, I've seen that it can work well in the office if you talk to someone trusted, if you share your problem with a trusted friend at the workplace. Because you may be surprised that what they'll tell you is that it's not actually you the boss doesn't like. Okay, it's not actually you, but it is just something. It could be some information they can tell you that will show you that actually your boss is going through a lot of stress. Okay, and that how they are managing that stress is affecting their relationship with others in the work environment. Okay, so that is the thing. So that's the first thing you need to do. Okay, but this is by far the most important thing you should do, dear friend. Okay, you need to engage your boss. All right, you need to do so. And the way you engage your supervisor, because let me tell you one thing: your boss is your boss. So even the way you talk to them, you have to find a tactful way to find out what the problem is. So one way you can do that is to find out. You say, look, Mr. or Miss, I would like to set up a personal appointment with you to discuss matters related to my job. Okay. And there's no boss who will deny you that opportunity to come and discuss the problem with them. So when you reach the office, you simply ask them, I've been working here for quite some time now. I want you to tell me honestly. I just want personal feedback. How do you think I'm performing on the job? All right. And they're going to tell you, all right. They're going to tell you exactly how you're performing. And for those who are really honest, they'll hit the, what is that term again? They'll just hit the nail on the head, okay? Tell you exactly what is the problem. If it's late coming, they'll tell you. If it's the quality of your reports, they'll tell you. And they'll even tell you that, you see, you're supposed to be, you should improve on this because it's costing us a lot as an organization. Okay, so you need to engage. And then when you're talking, even when they criticize you, Don't be in the defensive mode all the time. Of course, you also have your reasons why you couldn't do things the right way. You probably may have received instructions not in the format you wanted, or maybe because there's a time problem, time factor. Okay, so don't be in the defensive mode, because the minute you turn into the defensive mode, there will be a lot of arguments between your boss, and then it will just escalate. It will make the relationship work. So when your boss tells you, no, you have to improve on this, just say, okay, thanks a lot, I'll work on these areas, and guarantee to them that there will be changes they'll see. Okay, so just as I was saying, the thing is that you have to look at things in the eyes of your boss. One thing I can tell you guys is that when your boss hired you, the last thing they wanted was to let you go, because the whole process of finding somebody, you just think about it. It's a lengthy process. There's advertising, there's having a recruitment panel interview you. All those things are costly. So to have that done again, it's costly, because if they bring in a new person, they have to train that person. So most people, and then you see again, there's, if it's a contract, there's gratuity, there's things like that. So most people don't want to have to go through that problem, those, that strain of activities, because it can be costly. All right. So you just need to make sure you improve on the weaknesses that they've identified. People vary, but the boss will tell you openly what the problem is. So don't always assume, I want to emphasize this point to you, friend. Don't always assume that your boss doesn't like you, all right? Because it could be just a phase, okay? A phase which he or she is passing through, because we are all human. We go through problems at work, at home. So there are so many things that define us, that make us who we are. Okay, so you have to be a little more patient, which it brings me to the next point, that what you should do if there are selfish reasons. Okay, if for instance you have determined that there are selfish reasons, okay, perhaps this person wants you to do something dishonest. Perhaps they want you to, perhaps they just want to replace you for someone else for no particular reason. Not because you're poor performing, you're actually high performing, but they just want a change. They just feel that there's need for change. And actually, I must tell you that that's a really wrong, selfish way to handle human beings. I've seen this happen, maybe not at individual level, but you'll find that when a project ends, same organization implementing different projects, they want to change the whole project team and bring in a new team. You see? Now, my question is, why don't you just maintain the same project team and let them implement a new project if they've been doing well? But they want to replace the whole project team. These people lose their jobs, they have to struggle to look for other jobs. And there's no stability sometimes in the NGO world, which can be really disappointing. But that is life. Sometimes you just have to embrace these challenges, look for solutions, fight. Okay? So the solutions, okay, these are the solutions I would recommend. You can report the problem, but now the thing is that you can only do that if you have evidence. All right? You cannot just do things on hearsay. You need to have solid evidence, okay, that indeed so, this boss has been affecting wanted me to do something dishonest and it's affecting my work. All right. So you can report it. All right. And I mean, that's only if it gets out of hand. Report it. Okay. Or you can choose to be patient and wait until the problem resolves itself. There are some people who, in fact, most of us, we don't want to get ourselves entangled in things which can just make working for a company really undesirable. So sometimes there's no harm of being patient and wait a little, suck it up a little, see whether things will change. If it persists, then you can take the route of reporting. And then lastly, and this one, my friend, is not something which is, it may not even be practical for many because it's so hard sometimes to look for a job. But it may be an option in the event that you have tried, you've seen that things are not getting any better and it's affecting your health, it's affecting your work performance, it's even affecting your relationship with others, then it might be the best time to think of looking elsewhere. Okay. Usually, we shouldn't also ignore the possibility of starting our own consultancies. And I would want to urge all of my friends, if you are new to this channel, please continuously look out for videos that I'll be posting on how to start your own consultancy. I've been doing this for 10 years. I've been generating traffic for the past 5 years. Okay. And I want to share all this wealth of information to you, my friends. So in the description below, I have my Skype ID. If you need assistance in any way, please get in touch with me. I've also got my email. Okay, so that marks the end of this presentation. I sure hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe. I've been your host, Coach Alexander, and see you on the other side. Bye.